Now it's time for Movie Friends with your hosts Michelle and Seth. We're talking film without pretension. We're finding cats that are unexpected. We'll watch a movie, film, or schmovie, and we want you to join our journey. So subscribe and share this podcast, or this might just be the last of the Movie Friends. We're movie friends. We want to be your movie friends.
Hey, welcome to Movie Friends. I'm here with my friend Seth Vargas, who will do as you command for the moment.
And I'm here with my friend Michelle Rubenstein, who lives in a strictly 9 o'clock town.
Hello, my friend. Happy sunshine? We both have sunshine?
What a magical... It's as if someone has lit the very particles of the sun on fire. And it is finally warm.
Yes. And before we started recording, you said it's too warm. We have to go back.
Yeah. Today, it's like the heat finally broke. I have all the windows in the house open, which that's a big one for me. That's the spring is here, day. And I was driving my car and I was like, it's too hot. Let's I was hot for all of like 30 minutes. And then I was like, oh, I forgot what being hot is like.
I saw a meme the other day and I didn't click too much into it, but opening your windows is known as burping the house. That's not.
Wow. Yeah, I mean you burp sourdough starter, right?
Yeah, I never did that. I never made bread. So
well,
I know.
Let me tell you, in case you haven't had it, bread is so good.
Oh no, I like to eat the bread. I just haven't made the bread, nor have I burped a starter before.
Yeah, I don't have patience for baking, so I'm not one to talk.
Yes.
But it is good.
Yeah.
Even if look, someone out there is going to be flipping through the roof right now, but even if you just get a little frozen something from the store, let it raise, bake it.
I mean, that sounds good. Hey, did we get any emails?
We did.
Email.
All right, the subject line of this email is Immigrant Family Double Feature. Dear movie friends, as I was watching Bend It Like Beckham, I realized that it would make a good double feature with My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Both movies feature female protagonists who are trying to become individuals in a modern society while navigating the cultural demands of their immigrant families. Both protagonists have sisters who hew closer to what their families expect of women of their culture. Both movies shine a positive light on their respective traditional cultures as well. Both movies were released in 2002. And, as a friend pointed out to me, there was a major historical event that happened the previous year that may have influenced an interest in these types of stories. Your friend, Sean Shank.
Wow. Well, Sean Shank, thank you for sending the email. And I RSVP yes to that double feature night. That would be fun.
Another thing that they have in common is we have done episodes on both of them.
Yes, we have.
It feels like another lifetime ago talking about Bend It Like Beckham.
I think My Big Fat Greek Wedding was probably one of my favorite episodes I did with you.
That was
I laughed so much. You had me in tears. And if you're curious what we're talking about, you should just go listen to that episode. Bend It Like Beckham was great too. But My Big Fat Greek Wedding was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Bend It Like Beckham was a first-time watch for me.
And a favorite of mine.
Yeah, and then rewatching My Big Fat Greek Wedding felt like a first-time watch.
Yeah.
Even though I watched that movie so many times as a young person.
Yeah. I also want to give a shout out to Billy Mays III and Marley for listening to us when they work out at the gym. If you tuned in last week, Marley wrote us an email about how he's not really tuning in that much because perhaps we are not as, we don't pump you up as much when you're at the gym.
Right. Yeah, we're not motivating in the gym.
Yeah, but Billy Mays said, was it Seth's laugh propelled him to work harder? And then Marley says that when I turned into I channeled my old sensei, that also channeled some pumping. So you know what? We're here for it. Thanks for letting us know, guys. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I would never, as I said then, I can never imagine listening to us while working out.
Yeah.
I feel the thing that people have told us that I feel more comfortable with is when they tell us that they listen before they go to sleep. I believe
Yeah.
that. I believe Matt Farley told us that, right? That he listens as he's falling asleep. That makes more sense.
Yeah, I've been told that over on Total Betty Podcast Network, where I cover other shows, that people will tune into us to listen to go to sleep, or that like they find our voices relaxing. So either we put you to sleep or we relax you. Either way, we're
Or
in
we
your
pump you up.
ear, or we pump you up. Maybe we should start working in subliminal messages, Seth.
Wouldn't it be great if we recorded while we were on like walking pads?
Yes.
So that we were just naturally more energetic. I wonder if the episodes would be different.
Yeah, but all you would hear is the background, because I'll send
Right.
audio messages when I'm on my walking pad. I'm like, sorry if you hear this. I'm not really out of breath, but you just hear like the tread. We could try it though. I'm down for anything. Let's experiment.
I don't want to walk.
All right. Well, today is my pick for the month, and I'm very excited to talk about Plan 9 from Outer Space from 1957. Directed, written, and edited by Edward D. Wood Jr. Cinematography by William C. Thompson. Composed by Gordon Zoller. And costume design by Richard Chaney. Now, this is the part that I struggled with the most when preparing for this episode, because here's where Seth and I, whoever's hosting, will read who's starring in the movie. And I must have written this part over and over and over again, because I just want to include everyone, and I'm not really sure who to include, but here's a little roll call for you. Starring Tor Johnson, Mila Nurmi, Gregory Walcott, Mona McKinnon, Criswell, and Bela Lugosi. Don't you just want to include everyone?
I know, it's tough, right?
Yeah, really tough. The budget for this, $60,000. Box office made $812.
Oh, come on now.
Now, production days.
I thought you were about to say 812,000. I was like, yeah, good.
$812, is that right? Production days, I read and heard and consumed 4 days, 7 days. It was short.
Yeah.
It was short. Seth, why don't you start us off? Read us our summary.
Greetings, my friends. We are all interested in the future, for it is where you and I are going to spend the rest of our lives. I predict that humankind will ignore messages from beyond, for how could life exist if it was not on Earth? We must be concerned that our advances with powerful weaponry will lead us to the destruction of our very existence. How can we stop? Are we too far gone? Could there be an idea already in place? Ah, yes. Plan 9 from Outer Space.
I just want to let you know, I sat down to write this summary, and I just channeled Criswell and Ed Wood, and as Seth was reading it, I was mouthing it as Ed Wood would do. Oh my gosh. This was really
That's
fun.
the first I saw that summary.
Really?
And as soon as I saw the opening line, I was like, oh, that's so great. She wrote it as Criswell. And so I was like, I mean, I have to try to read it.
You have to.
Yeah, there's no way. Yeah, he was my deep dive this time. I'm sure you'll talk about, this is our second foray into the world of Ed Wood, but Criswell was the one who really took my attention. And I sent you his album that I found out exists, Criswell Predicts, which is like 40-ish minutes of him just being like, I predict that men and women will wear the same clothes in the future. I predict that Boulder, Colorado will be destroyed.
I predict there will be plastic in sneakers.
And that's like the whole thing. And then he goes on for a weird, like, doom and gloom rant about leprosy.
Yes.
Anyway.
Okay. So Seth sent me that on YouTube. I told Seth this yesterday, but I just want to share it here. I put it on while I did some crafting by myself, and then Aunt walked in the room, and it was the part talking about leprosy. And Aunt was like, Mitch, this is a vibe. What is going on here? And I was like, sit and join me. And so he listened and he was cracking up. He's like, what is this?
I can't recommend it enough.
So good.
Look, I'm not a good salesman, but I'm going to like immediately direct you away from our show.
Yes.
At some point, if you're here and you're a fan of Ed Wood or you're interested in these people in this world, you gotta put on Criswell's album. It's an easy listen, brisk, and then you have to listen to Mae West's song that she wrote called Criswell Predicts, where she talks about Criswell and her relationship with him. And it's mind-blowing. It's because you think of these people as like kind of pushed off to the side weirdo people, and then when you like see evidence of their existence in the real world, you're like, oh my god, Milo Nurmi ate at this restaurant. I told you I didn't do it. I didn't, and I should have done it. But this last Sunday, I was like, what if I drove to the Ed Wood house? It's only an hour from me. Like, he was born there. There's a national monument or a state monument now to the house. I should go. I didn't go, but I next time I head south, I think I'm gonna stop in and go.
Yeah, it's in Poughkeepsie, New York, right? Yeah. Well, now it's on my list of places I want to visit. So when I come up to visit you, or if I ever have to go up for go to Albany area, we're making a stop there.
We'll meet in the middle.
There you go.
For an Ed Wood tour. For an Ed Wood tour.
So the last time we spoke about Plan 9 was in our episode covering Tim Burton's Ed Wood, which was last May.
Wow, almost a year. Wow.
I know. It was our month on movies about movies. Mm-hmm. And which, by the way, I think that episode is a great companion episode to this one, because we really do get into Ed Wood, the person, and who he is and how his mind works and how he ended up. But we watched Plan 9 for that. Well, that was the first time I watched Plan 9, was to compare it to what we saw in Burton's Ed Wood. But watching again for this episode, I watched it 3 times. And it just made me love it even more. And when we covered Burton's Ed Wood, that like caused me to go on such like a deep dive into Ed Wood. I read Will Sloan's book titled Ed Wood Made in Hollywood, USA. I became obsessed with Vampira, very much so, very much obsessed with her. And so watching for this time around, I was really watching with a critical eye. And I'm curious if you were doing the same, not just because we're covering it today and talking about it, but like I was like, what parts are like really quote unquote bad? Which acting do I think is being done the best? Did you have the same experience, or were you just feeling the same?
Well, we say it feels like almost every week. But you can watch a movie your entire life. You can think you know it backwards and forwards. But until you have to give a report on the movie, whether that be writing an article about it, writing a review, or doing a podcast episode, you watch it so differently. And My first time watching Plan 9, I can't remember if it's when I was a teenager. I've mentioned before my manager at the magic store that I used to work
Yes.
at. Now,
Yes.
friends, that's not a Magic the Gathering store. It was a magic store, sawn ladies in half, card tricks, the whole thing. He was a major film enthusiast and very graciously lent me a lot of great material that I did not have access to when I was a teenager. I'm pretty sure I watched Plan 9 then. And then when my wife and I got married, we really enjoyed buying DVD collections of like 20 to 50 horror movies for like $5 at Walmart. Like just the worst movie, terrible movies. Plan 9 was on there, and we also were working our way through like a cult classic, 500 cult classic book, and it was in there, so we watched it. And then I revisited when we did Ed Wood, and so now I'm like, last week we finished recording our episode on House, 1977. And I felt like I did so much like technical reading for it, even though if you listen to the episode, it doesn't really come through at all.
No, I know what you mean. This is what it's like to be a podcaster covering a film because yeah. Anyway, sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to say I'm with you in solidarity on that feeling.
Yeah, it's like I did all this like technical reading about like actual history and economics and Japanese culture, and I was like, I didn't really mention any of it, but it was there. It was good.
Yeah.
It's for my benefit. Anyway, so while House was very fun to do, I was like, oh, I just want to jump right into Plan 9 because this is going to be brainless. It's kind of how I was approaching it. So I immediately watched it, and I watched it like 1.5 times that night. And I've watched it either in full or in part every day for a week now. You and I had talked a couple days ago, and you said you wanted to approach Plan 9 as the movie. Can you explain that for us?
Yeah. So with preparation and consuming really in my spare time before, prepping for this episode, I tuned into a lot of podcasts covering Plan 9 and I tuned into the documentary that goes with Plan 9, the making of Plan 9. And I read a lot of articles on Plan 9 and like more than half of them, it's like 75%, 80%, 90% of all of those pieces of content are just talking about Ed Wood and what kind of director and artist he was, and this conversation of like what makes a bad movie. And it didn't like get into like the nitty gritty of the actual movie. Now, don't get me wrong, all of that stuff is so interesting, and I do want to briefly sum up how this movie got made. But I was like, I just want to hang out with my friend Seth and talk about the actual movie as if I was just talking to my friend and not present to you all my PowerPoint presentation on the history of Ed Wood.
I agree with you, and I was really glad that you said that because I also was reading and listening, and I listened to one episode of a show, and I'm not going to mention who it is. They had some real academic eggheads on. People with, real titles. And they're discussing Plan 9. And then about halfway through the episode, the host says, okay, now let's actually, we got all the who's and the how's and the what's and the when's out of the way. Let's actually talk about the film. And this one person who, again, is paid to talk about movies literally said, well, I mean, we can't really discuss the plot. The film is impenetrable. It doesn't make any sense. We could maybe try to piece it together. And I just threw my phone across the room. And I was like, you're not even trying. Because there's this massive hedge around the film, right? Of Ed Wood and like Mila Nurmi as Vampira and Tor Johnson and all that information that's like, it's so good
Yeah.
that you can't see, you can't see through it. You're not even trying, because really, and this is my 7-minute answer to your question, I don't think this movie is that complicated at all. I don't think it's hard to follow at all. I think that what might set you off on slightly confused footing is the opening. Going from Criswell to now, here's this completely unrelated story. You might be like, wait, who now? What? Who's happening now? Who? But again, after watching it like multiple times this week, it's extremely straightforward. It's very straightforward.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I kept like asking myself the question, like, okay, you're biased. Like you and Seth both love this movie, and you are into the Ed Wood world of it all. You are now a fan of these people. And so I can critique it, right? But also it's just a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I love it so much. Okay. Well, that being said, as the thing I didn't want to present to you all, I am going to give a brief little synopsis of how this movie came to be.
Yes.
After Ed Wood makes Bride of the Monster, which I have not seen yet, I will watch it. He wants to make another movie. He needs financial backing. J. Edward Reynolds, who happens to be Ed's landlord, wants to get into the movie biz and make religious epics. So Ed pitches to him to produce an exploitation film. You could take these profits that you make, and then you can use the profits to make a film about anything you want. You can make your religious epics, which specifically he wanted to make a biopic about Billy Sunday.
Yes. Yep.
Also, which is a very alluring, Reynolds, you could be a part of making Bela Lugosi's last film. Because Bela passed away in August of 1956, and beforehand, Ed and Bela, they shot some footage. They're working on a comeback film called The Vampire's Tomb. And this sounded very alluring, like, hey, I want to be a part of Bela's last film. Let's see what can come of this. So Reynolds agrees, but he finds the concept of grave robbery sacrilegious. Originally, this was called Grave Robbers from Outer Space. So he forces Ed to change the name from Grave Robbers from Outer Space to Plan 9 from Outer Space. Also demands that the crew gets baptized.
Now, I've heard that it was possibly Reynolds or it was possibly distribution down the line that changes.
Yes.
Grave Robbers.
Yeah.
Now, I also read Will Sloan's book, Ed Wood, Made in Hollywood, USA.
Here it is.
A lot of stuff that I've heard about Ed Wood is kind of like proven not to be true in like other books and publications over the years. And what's great about Will's book is it kind of brings all that stuff together and he cites everything. And it's just fascinating how much legend and like interesting stories exist around this guy who made 6 features and then a bunch of novels and then a lot of pornographic films. But like, I don't know that there's this much myth around anyone else who made such a small splash in Hollywood, right? It's like every person in this story is also interesting. And that's so rare. You know, there's no like dud players here anyway.
Right. No, you're right. It's just like comical to me to have your landlord who's associated with the Baptist Church of Beverly Hills, and you convince them to fund your movie, and this is going to be such a hit. It's going to be such a hit that you will make money so you can make your religious epics.
Yep. And
Also-
then he loses all his money and
I
then
know.
dies.
I know, and he never gets to make movies he wants to make. Also, like the Bela Lugosi footage of it all.
Oh,
Inspired? I don't know. Okay.
beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yeah. When Bela is out on his front lawn and he goes to start walking, but then his gaze turns to the flowers and he stops. I was like, that's an actor, you know?
Mhm. Yeah.
Look at this guy.
Like you said, Criswell is our trusty narrator. We start the film with Criswell predicts. I can imagine, like you mentioned, if you're just turning this on, you don't know anything about Ed Wood, you don't know anything about Criswell, this would be strange. But if you listen, it's like, okay, he's kind of telling us about a story that occurred and I'm here for it. So let's see how this unfolds. And then he narrates throughout the film. So he's with us
Mm-hmm.
the entire time. And he ends the film. So it kind of is it's bookend.
Right. Even the odd guy who looks like a baby alien, like I don't know how else to describe Criswell's look. He looks like if you took Colonel Sanders as a youngster and dipped him in like melted ice cream. I don't know. It's so weird. But yeah, even this off-putting beginning is tied thematically to the rest of the movie. Like there are Ed Wood pictures where there are things thrown in that legitimately don't fit anything. Like in his film Glen or Glenda, where the producer put in 5-7 minute striptease footage that just had nothing to do with the movie whatsoever. In Plan 9 from Outer Space, everything, all the pieces belong there. They're just odd.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
How do you feel about this Criswell opening?
Oh, I love. I mean, that's the thing. I'm on board. I want all my movies to start with Criswell openings. Like, please guide me. I am here for it. So that's why I think anything we comment on, I'm gonna be like, yeah, but it's fun, or yeah, I like these people. So this is like, it's hard for me.
Right.
You know, I love this. My heart is happy in the Plan 9 world.
It's such a shame that this movie starts off being presented to people as like, oh, either it's the worst movie ever made, or more realistically nowadays, this was considered the worst movie ever made, right? I think that now most people are aware enough to know that this is not the worst movie ever made, because this opening is, I just want to say it, visually iconic. The lights behind him, the like folding table thing that he's sitting at, like the zoom into his face, him reading side to side his lines as he's reading them.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah. And then like the whole story of the movie. Okay, so we have an old man. His wife passes away.
Mm-hmm.
He quickly dies after.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, aliens have been attempting to communicate with us about the dangers of humans producing a powerful bomb called Solarite that could wipe us out.
Mm-hmm. And
them, which they're like, right. And then the humans ignore. So the aliens have to implement Plan 9, which involves resurrecting the dead, which includes the old man, his wife, and an inspector who's on the police force who is inspecting or who visits a grave site, investigating. Thank you. This particular graveyard in California, and from there, like I'm like, okay, this all makes sense to me. Now it's the details in between that maybe, because there are some times that I like what's being said back and forth. I'm like, okay, this seems a little contradictory.
Sure.
You know, and it's funny too because we have Bela playing the old man, and he passes away, and so they use a body double, which ended up who's Ed Wood's chiropractor, Tom Mason. And anytime you see him on screen, he has his arm with the cape like covering his face. You just see his eyes. Not once did I question why is the old man dressed like a vampire? Why is his wife dressed like that? Not once, because at this point I knew what to expect.
Right. Yeah.
But that wasn't even like a complaint of mine. I was just like, oh yeah, I'm just going to accept the fact that, okay, this is who he is. How the old man dressed.
So it's 1957, right? We're 10 years after the atomic bomb.
Mm-hmm.
This is part of the wave of movies, just like Godzilla. Plan 9 and Godzilla go hand in hand.
Right.
It's part of the wave of movies that are made in the wake of the atomic bomb that are trying to reconcile with this insane power that has been unleashed on the earth and what it means for the future. It's about the unchecked escalation of military power, right? And it all makes sense. Now, if you knew that maybe from the beginning, right? Because we wait a long time. I want to go back to the old man and his wife.
Yeah, sure.
But we wait a long time to reveal the, how do you say, the
Solaranite?
The Solaranite, okay? So if the movie opened instead with aliens convening and saying, the humans on Earth are getting close to unlocking Solaranite. We need to reach them. And then we see them trying to reach us for years, right? But they can't, we can't understand their language. And so we're shooting radio waves back at each other. And then we start attacking them because they're not responding. And so they say, you know what? We've tried everything to reach these people. So the only way to get them, to get their attention, is to resurrect the dead, have them show up on their porch and turn into a skeleton. I did not mean to say skeleton there, but I did. But anyway. And that will get their attention. You know, I don't know that they were the people, although, you know what? It was the government liaison who's in charge of the alien stuff. So I guess it was the exact person that they could have turned the person into a skeleton in front of. What do I know? But when you explain it, I think forwards like that, the movie makes perfect sense.
Right.
That's why, going back to Criswell, that's why you have Criswell opening the movie, because Criswell is a local celebrity in California. He was also on national. He was on the Tonight Show. I can't remember who was hosting the Tonight Show then, but I don't know if Tonight Show came before. But point is, like, people know who he is as a psychic guy. You got the Mae Wests on. So it makes perfect sense to make a movie about the future and start it with Criswell.
Right.
And for me, like, okay, I'm going to try to, you know, pop a squat. I'm going to try to relate to the youth of today. Okay.
Wait, have your kids watched this?
Oh yeah.
Speaking of the youth of today.
Actually, I just watched it with my younger son today. I was trying to get one more viewing in, and I had to go pick him up from school. So when he came home, there was only 10 minutes left. We watched the 10 minutes, and he said, "Dad, I want to watch that movie that I did not see the whole thing." So I started over immediately, and we're watching it. And he said to me, and man, I'm going on so many little side trails here, but this is my son who, over the last couple months, he and I have been watching tons of 40s, 50s, and 60s science fiction movies, horror movies, because last October, he was like, I want to watch a scary movie. And I was like, well, I'm not going to show this kid, you know, Freddy Krueger, but I'll show him Fiend Without a Face or Attack of the Crab Monsters, right? Because he's like, oh, this is a scary movie, but there's nothing in these movies that's objectionable, you know? And so after watching so many of these movies with him, which has just been, I gotta say, like an absolute delight in my childhood to, you know, parent journey, while we were watching Plan 9, this will sound like I staged this as a bit. I didn't. As we're watching it, he said to me, "Dad, who made this movie?" And he's never asked that about who made. I swear. I got like chills.
Yeah.
I got like chills, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is it." He is connecting that like movies are made by people.
Oh my gosh.
And so I said, I was like, well, it was made by a director, Edward D. Wood Jr. And I said, why did you ask that? And he said, because I don't know who makes these movies, and I want to know who makes these movies. Anyway, it was great. I can't remember where I was. Oh, Criswell, Pop in a Squat. Okay. If you and I were making a movie and we didn't have a lot of money, but we had access to, let's say, a famous YouTuber,
Mm-hmm.
and we thought, okay, what if we opened our movie with this YouTuber doing his normal thing and saying, hey, look, you're about to hear a story and it's true and all this stuff, right? Would people necessarily believe it? No, but they would have the context of who this person is and what their shtick is. And so it wouldn't feel so like strange and off kilter. So that's my offering to the audiences of today is you got to understand who Criswell was,
right,
and why it makes sense for him to be in this movie about the future of mankind via the escalation of military power.
Right. And the intent behind this movie is to be serious.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
This was not supposed to be like, I'm making this as a joke. No, this is supposed to be taken seriously.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a moment towards the end of the film where Eros,
yeah, Dudley Manlove.
he great name.
I know. Amazing.
Where he like appeals to the other person by saying like, look, you're in uniform. I'm in uniform. Can't we understand each like this is the uniform of my planet.
Mm-hmm.
We can't understand each other on this base level. I am like you. I'm sent here to help you. I'm not sent here to hurt you. If I wanted to hurt you, I would have done that. Can't you listen to me? And they can't.
Yeah, I love that scene. You talk of God. You also think it's impossible that we too might not think of God? Wow, come on now. Come on
it's
now.
Great.
This is great. This whole scene is so good. And then Tana, played by Joanna Lee, she's like, it's mad that you destroyed your own people. Is it mad that one country must destroy another town? Right? It's like, yeah, we're saying a lot. We're just saying a lot here.
We're saying a lot, but it's being said through almost no money. And I'll say like very little talent. And not to keep going back to our, by the way, good close personal friend Will Sloan.
I mean, I didn't want to say it, but it is true. He was on our show.
Previous episode, Magic Spot, okay? But I don't want to keep going back to him all the time. But why not? Who cares?
Why
He's
not?
a good
He's
writer.
our trusted source.
Right. He proposes in his book that Ed Wood is not just a bad filmmaker. So it's not like, oh, we're setting out to say that this isn't actually bad. It's just that it's not just bad. That we can look at this movie, like I said, with no money, which isn't a bad qualifier, at least for you and me, right? We don't really care about that.
No.
But like not a lot of talent behind a lot of the factors of this film, I would say. But that's secondary to what is being said. And sometimes the how is charming and fun.
Yeah. On that note, talk to me about who you think was the best actor in this or gave the best performance. Not who you are fond of, because I have two different, I have two different answers for that, of like who I'm fond of versus who I think actually gave a good performance.
Yeah. I will say there's a scene where the Trents
Oh boy.
Jeff and Paula Trent,
Played by Gregory Walcott and Mona McKinnon.
airline pilot extraordinaire.
Uh-huh.
When they're just at their house talking on their porch, and I was like, you know what? Not that this is like great award-winning performance stuff, but if you took this scene and put it into any of the other B sci-fi horror movies, it's not lacking anything. It fits
Yeah.
right in. If it's it's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I would say Gregory Walcott is doing good. I mean, I'm not going to include Bela Lugosi.
Well, Bela didn't know.
Right. Like, it's
he
not
didn't know
fair
he was going to
almost.
be inserted into this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
right. And not to say that like, oh, like it doesn't count. It's just,
no.
he's acting in footage. He's standing by a graveside. I don't know.
Right.
I'm not gonna go with him for several reasons. And then Dudley Manlove is Eros, but I gotta tell you, this time, the last couple times around, I will tell you who had just insane riz and aura, also as the young people say. 2 years ago, John Bunny Breckenridge, as the alien leader. Yes, he's reading off a script. Yes, he's looking down. But I was like, this guy has it, man. He has the juice.
That's exactly who I'm just completely obsessed with in this film. I said earlier it was Criswell. There's a lot, but specifically on this watch, his performance as the ruler has become my new persona. The amount of times that I have, since I've watched this movie, every time he dismisses Tana and Eros, he just like waves them away, like puts his hand in the air and just, I have been doing that. Like when something's annoying me, I'm just like, be gone. And I'm channeling him. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. So I love his performance. I actually think Lyle Talbot and Tom Keane, General Roberts and Colonel Edwards, when they meet the general's office at the Pentagon, I actually think that's a pretty good conversational scene. Like I'm believing what's being said, the dialogue. I think it was delivered well. And like, okay, the office itself, we'll get into set pieces. It's the idea of what an office would be, right?
Right.
Another thing to quote from Will Sloan. Like he talks about like Ed Wood giving the idea of what the set should be, right?
Right.
I actually think that's a good scene. I actually really like that back and forth conversation. I think it was delivered well.
I do too, until he's like, well, we developed a technology to translate any language, which is, look, it's sci-fi stuff, people.
Exactly.
Please. You know, if you're going to believe in a lightsaber, you have to believe in everything else, right?
Well, I'm talking about delivery of lines.
Well, no.
Not the lines being said.
Well, I'm getting to it.
Oh, okay. All right, sorry.
He's like, we figured out how to translate their language. And, you know, you've been around a while, so we figured might as well let this guy know what they're saying to us. So they play him the audio, and it's Eros being like, hi, hi, we've been trying to reach you, and you're not paying attention. So, you know, hey, we're trying to help you. Please stop shooting at us. Da, 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 da. They finished listening to it, and he's like, all right, you know, go out. You ever been to Hollywood? They say Hollywood like 15 times throughout this movie.
I know.
I should actually count, but
I know.
Yeah. Which is funny because he's like, you're not even going to Hollywood. You're going to Fresno or whatever, you know, near there.
San Fernando, yeah.
San Fernando. And so I wrote it down because I was like, this is one of my favorite quotes in the movie, obviously in context. He says something like, all right, go out there and see what the hell they want. And I'm like, right. You just heard what they want. You've been sitting on this tape that tells you what they want. So like, I think that this scene is a good example of the movie because it's pretty good. It's fine. It's at a minimum serviceable, but then it just ends on a really ridiculous note.
I know he's like, I don't understand what they want. It's like they literally just explained to you what they want and what they're concerned about.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah. Vampira.
Okay, wait.
Oh.
Going back to Bunny really quickly. This movie is almost like an unfolding geometric shape.
Mm-hmm.
You ever do coloring books, adult coloring books, where you color in like a very complex geometric shape that reflects on itself, you know?
Yeah.
No one is really the bad guy, but then each side has an antagonist, and the two antagonists come together. So on the human side, it would be Inspector Clay, who's not a bad guy. Actually, he's cool. I loved Inspector Clay when the guy's like, be careful out there. And he says, I'm a big boy. And everyone laughs. And it looks like everyone really laughs. Like Tor Johnson couldn't wait to deliver that line. It's so charming and nice and funny.
Yeah.
It's a shame that he spends the rest of the movie just like not talking or not moving. So on the human side, apart from, I guess, just, the upper echelon that's referenced and said like, oh, they control everything. So Inspector Clay becomes the bad guy on the human side. And then on the alien side, it's the Bunny Breckenridge character. But even he maybe isn't really that bad. And so then these two characters come together to form this power that's like unstoppable by the heroes on both sides. Like, I don't want to. Okay, listen, if you're listening to this episode and you watched Plan 9 from Outer Space once and you were like, this is terrible, and now you're listening to us and you're like, okay, it turns out Seth and Michelle actually have no taste and they are actually insane. Like, I apologize, and I'm not trying to pull something out of thin air that isn't really there, but I was fascinated by this idea of a movie with no real bad guys, just depending on which side of the argument you're on. And then, Bunny Breckenridge's credit here is just ruler, right? At one point, he takes away a couple of Eros' ships.
Yeah.
And it's like, is he sabotaging this guy? Like, but then you also have, like, it's mirror images, because then on the police side, you have people telling people what to do, and they're kind of snippy about it. You have military people telling people what to do, and they're kind of snippy about it. And so why do we take it that the alien guy is the villain or bad guy when we don't take it that way when our side is doing it's fast? Like, I think that it's
I think that's
good.
that is the bigger picture, though. That is the message of like too much power.
Mm-hmm.
And when you are not, when you don't have the responsibility to use it and you let it go to your head.
Right. You're too stupid.
You're too stupid. Stupid.
And I thought stupid was refreshing. Maybe it could have been delivered and written a little bit better, but it's the frustration. Yeah. He is feeling frustrated.
Yes.
This guy, they've been blowing up this guy's comrades who are coming to stop them from killing themselves accidentally. Right. And they can't see. It's like dealing with like very, very, very small children who are like wanting to touch the stove. And you're like, you can't do that. And then they throw a fit. And you're like, okay, well, what am I supposed to do now? Like, oh, I'm sorry. You should be allowed to do that.
Right.
Obviously, you don't turn around and yell stupid at a 2-year-old. But the frustration, I think, is the same.
Yeah.
Plan 9 from Outer Space is a great movie.
It's a great movie. I mean, I feel like there's no need to defend it, Yeah. Like you earlier said, I apologize if you're listening to this. You think, no, I'm not apologizing. I'm a proud supporter of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So part of Plan 9, resurrect the dead, particularly with this one graveyard site. What I'm confused about, and I accept it, so it's just like I'm just curious how you feel about it, is we have the old man, we have the old man's wife, played by Vampira, and then we have Inspector Clay, played by Tor Johnson, right? Okay. Tor Johnson was Inspector Clay. He shows up and then he is killed along with the grave diggers, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
These are the only 3 we see. And it seems like Vampira is the only one who did the killing. Because at one point, Inspector Clay, he like takes down Kelton the cop and he's holding Paula. She's only passed out.
Right.
But he didn't actually like really attack them.
Right.
And at one point, the aliens are like, we have to dispose of the old man. Like the ruler says at some point, like he's like no good. We don't need him.
Sacrifice him,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so why is it just that Vampira was doing the killing? Also, it's like how she killed. They make one reference. They say at one point it looks like they were like mauled like by a wild animal. So is that because of her nails are so long?
Right. Yes, I think so. He says it looks like a mountain lion got them.
Yeah.
Okay, now this is where I will. I don't know that I'll stop defending the movie, but like this part makes no sense. So in my head, perhaps Bela Lugosi's character was an important scientist, maybe an important government official.
Oh, we're giving like backstory to old man.
Well, why? Okay.
I mean, I'm here for it.
You're an alien coming to Earth. Okay. Mm-hmm. You have incredible knowledge of what's going on politically and scientifically. Why are you going to this area? Why are you not going to Washington, D.C.?
Right.
Okay. So maybe their intention was to raise this important person's wife from the dead so that they could communicate with him. But then something they did not foresee, a car accident as he walks away from his house.
Right.
And so the reason that they resurrect Inspector Clay is because he was snooping where he didn't belong.
Well, right.
He's not part of the plan. She was part of the plan. She was, I think, really the only one. But then when he dies, like, well, let's resurrect him too.
Yeah, right. She is so iconic in this.
Incredible.
Her first entrance, there's no lines, no dialogue. She didn't want any dialogue. It's just gorgeous. Also, Inspector Clay, Tor Johnson's appearance, his rising, also iconic. And then the two of them watching them walk together. I need a print of it. Can I wallpaper my house with it? Just the imagery is really good. Would
you and Anthony be Vampira and Tor Johnson from Plan 9 for Halloween?
I mean, I wanted to be Vampira last year and instead went with Jack Skellington because I just don't think I could pull off her makeup. I don't think I could be as beautiful as Vampira.
Well, I mean,
I could dress like her. No problem.
Who could ever be as beautiful as
who could ever? Right. But like it's a very iconic signature look.
You know, we talked about Bride of Frankenstein a couple years back and how in that film, the bride has, a minute of screen time. And yet it is this powerful moment that has sent shockwaves through film history. It's so iconic. And is Mila Nurmi at least riding that wave? I won't say it's as iconic, but like, it's incredible. I have a question for you. How is her waist doing that?
Her cinched waist.
Yes. How is that possible?
She fasted. Also, she would rub, I think it was like papaya. It was a mixture she would rub and like wrap it around her waist. And it would literally take the inches off. And she did this, I think she did this on Fridays or the night before her show, which was Saturdays, I believe.
Are we talking a corset?
Yes, some kind of contraption. She does talk about it in detail in everything I've read about her.
Yeah.
She's fascinating.
It's got to be so uncomfortable.
When I was reading about her and her process with doing that, and then for her to go and perform on her show, I was like, if I don't eat every 3 hours, I feel like I'm going to faint, And so for her to put on her performance and keep that up is pretty remarkable.
Yeah. She's great. Like all great performances, I wish she was in it more, but
of course,
when she is there, it's amazing.
Yeah. Or maybe just like different angles because we're reusing a lot of this.
Right. Vampira was on set for 10 minutes that day.
And we're just going to reuse that footage. I want to talk about the cops for a little bit.
Sure.
Lieutenant Harper. And we got Kelton, the cop, Paul Marco. Man, Lieutenant Harper's just... He says one thing when he finds out Inspector Clay's dead, but one thing's sure, Inspector Clay is dead, murdered, and somebody's responsible.
And somebody's
But
responsible.
He's just scratching his face with his gun.
Well, yeah. Generally, when there's a murder,
he's just so silly.
It's
very
implied
silly.
that there's a murderer.
Yeah.
His gunplay in this movie is... I can't even call it gun handling or gun safety. He is scratching his face, pointing it at people.
Yeah.
I feel like he hits someone with it at one point. Like, it is atrocious. This guy never should have been issued a firearm.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't take him seriously. I feel like the cops in general, you can't take them seriously. They're so silly.
No, I think that Wood does a good job of showing them to be very bumbling, ineffective. He really is positioning these aliens as our saviors. I love the line when Eros is talking to the ruler, and he says their souls are too controlled.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that throughout all of Ed Wood's films, he's really examining social constructs over and over in many different ways. And I think that final showdown where the aliens are appealing to these men of different social statuses and, authority levels, and all of them just fail the test, and they burn down the spaceship. And that's it's the ending is so... it's not even bittersweet. It's just so bitter. There's no... we are dumb and incapable of conversation. And across the board, whether it be a police detective, a military guy, a respected pilot, all these people, when come face to face with the knowledge that you're actually dumb and need help, they're all just well, what if I just shoot you instead? And how troublesome it is that in today, literally, the people who are running our country are of the same mindset, where there's no conversation happening, and it's just, who has the bigger gun and more money. It's bad. Right. It's bad. Yeah. But this movie is good.
Yes. Right. And so, like you said, the spaceship, it blows up. And the last lines are just well, sooner or later, there will be more others. And then Clay, they look on the ground and Clay turns into a skeleton.
I love.
Well, I love that too. And then
he didn't look like that a minute ago.
The ending with Criswell. Mm-hmm. He says, "You have seen the incident based on sworn testimony. Can you prove it didn't happen? A warning. Many scientists believe that another world is watching us this moment," and concluding wish. He says we laughed at vitamins, which I find very funny. I'm paraphrasing here, but he talks about all the things we've laughed about in the past.
We laughed, the horse-drawn carriage.
Mm-hmm.
Vitamins.
God help us in the future.
Yep. Right. So, like you said, Wood is not setting out to make a funny little movie. There's funny jokes. When the cop is go in the hole and figure it out or whatever. Yeah. There's moments of levity and what does the pilot say? Do you want to go for a ball in Tucson?
Yeah.
Have a ball out in Tucson? Something crazy. He says something, and I was I don't think that means what it used to mean.
Yeah.
But there's little bits. I don't know. He was going for something serious. Like the characters in the movie, it's like people just couldn't see it because of how it was being delivered. The message was being delivered in this weird way by people wearing silly costumes and not performing it well. But I don't know. I think it works. I think it works. Could it have used a couple more passes? Absolutely.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Before we get into happies and crappies, I wanted to read. This is in Will Sloan, not sponsored. This is in the book, in Will Sloan's book that we could talk about, and I think this like sums it up perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
And by the way, there will be a link to buy Will Sloan's book in this episode, because if you're interested in Ed Wood and this movie, you should read it. It's a great book.
Yeah. Okay. So this was an ad for the film in November 8th, 1959 edition of the Sarasota News, where a special note from associate producer Hugh Thomas Jr., who was one of the gravediggers, by the way. He says, "Not only did I produce it, I had a hand in developing the thin story, and I am even in the darn thing. I don't want to be misleading, so I'll just tell you in all honesty that the picture stinks. It's strictly from corn. There have probably been worse pictures made, but I haven't seen one yet. Anyway, I had a lot of fun making it, and you will have more of the same watching yours truly making a vain attempt to copy Marlon Brando." And I think this is great because it's like, yes, this might be bad, but I had fun making it. I hope you enjoy watching it. I'll be honest about it. And I wonder too, like, this movie gets the title of being the worst film ever made, given out by the Medved brothers in their book, The Golden Turkey Awards in the 80s. And it's like, if they never put that on the list, and if others didn't put it on the list, would this have had such a resurgence? Like it did. It had a hard time getting distributed. Then it was played on televisions in the 1960s. You know what I'm saying? Like if this
No,
wasn't
it
labeled,
wouldn't have. Yeah,
it
no,
wouldn't have.
no. There's
So
no
it's
way.
like,
And it's the best thing that happened to this movie,
right,
actually, because
right,
without it, it would have gone into the dustbin of, like I said, the 30 horror movie collection from Walmart, and maybe someone would watch it and it would just be one of many. And it is kind of one of many. But when you watch a lot of these movies, I got to tell you, most of them stink. They're not good, you know?
yeah.
Like that guy, the gravedigger guy, which, by the way, my other favorite quote from the movie. I don't like hearing noises, especially when there aren't supposed to be none. It's like, wait, so you mean you just in general, you don't like hearing noises too? But anyway, he says, "Oh, I haven't seen worse movies. I've seen way worse movies." I'm thinking of, in particular, Monster from the Ocean Floor, 1954. This movie is saved from the dustbin of history because it was the first film that Roger Corman produced. And Roger Corman went on to become a major, the king of the B movies, and helping launching the careers of actors and producers and writers and directors, and operating for years and years. That movie's horrendous. And I'm not the first person to say this, what all of these other B sci-fi horror movies do not have that Plan 9 has is that they are so boring, and that there are long stretches where you're just waiting for the monster to appear. You're waiting for the creature to come out. You're waiting sometimes, 20, 30 minutes, and then the creature comes out for 2, and it's cool, and then it's over again. And Plan 9 from Outer Space, it's fun and funny and interesting. I'm not going to say no one could be bored watching it, but yeah, so it's the best thing that could have ever happened, because it's ensured that this movie has reached as big an audience as it possibly could, I think, just from the budget and the promotional material. That award, being voted worst movie of all time in the Medved brothers' second book about bad movies, which, by the way, they have said that they didn't even watch all the movies.
Yeah.
It's a total sham. I mean,
Yeah.
sorry to the Medved brothers, but that publication that touted itself as some kind of resource of knowledge was built on lies. And Plan 9 being voted in, I don't know, best thing that could have happened.
It's the only reason you and I are doing this is because it was voted worst movie of all time, and then it's stayed in the public consciousness.
Yeah. With that, let's go into our happies and crappies.
It's time for happies and crappies. Happies and crappies. It's time for happies and crappies. Happies and crappies. It's time for happies and crappies.
My happy is The Ruler, Lenny Breckenridge's performance. I love it. Thank you for giving me life. I don't have a crappy. What about you?
My happy, I think, Tor Johnson, that line, I'm a big boy, coming out of the grave all shambly and not really able to pull himself out. And then also Vampira. I'm going to cheat and say both of them. My crappy, I don't know. I kept thinking, like, what is my crappy? But like I said, I don't really find myself being bored during this. I have to, come on. I can't not have a crappy for this.
I know, I didn't have a crappy last week either. And it's like, how do I not, I guess.
Okay. I'll throw in what I said earlier, that it's the order of the story that makes it feel inaccessible. I think that with a little bit of editing, or just you have your narrator, you can explain what's going on a little bit earlier. The whole solenoid, whatever.
Solar Night
didn't need to be a twist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then it's like, well, what are we working towards? So I would say, yeah, the order of the story could be laid out to be less confusing for audiences.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about how we feel about the movie. So now let's hear from some strangers on the internet in a segment called Half Star, 3-Star, 5-Star. These are reviews from letterboxd.com, which is a website and app where you can log, rate, and review movies. We start with a half-star review, which is the lowest rating you can give a film, and go all the way up to a 5-star review, which is the highest rating you can give a film. And on this show, Seth reads our half-star reviews in an accent or impersonation. Seth, are you feeling anything, or should I spin the wheel of voices?
I think the only voice from this I could really do would be either Tor Johnson or Criswell.
Well, you did Criswell in the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to...
I'll grab a flashlight from the... Nah, spin the wheel.
All right, let's go. Let's spin the wheel of voices.
Wheel of Voices.
Hey, Rocky.
How's it going, Michelle?
Hello. Will you read our half-star review for us?
Oh, with pleasure. This movie is super dumb, all around just terrible. The actors didn't perform well, the sets were made very lazily, and the UFOs were very obviously tinfoil.
Hey, Rocky, have you seen Plan 9 from Outer Space?
Oh, yeah, big inspiration for me. You know, I also wrote my screenplay in a short amount of time. And,
yes.
You know, we had to scrape together, we had to scrap, and we had some flubs, you know. Mm-hmm. People know about the color of the shorts on the poster, and towards the end of the film. Yeah, you gotta work with what you got.
So true. Hey, thanks, Rocky. It's always a pleasure to have you.
Hey, thank you, Michelle. Till next time, eh?
The UFOs were very obviously tinfoil.
They kept saying, like, they look like big cigars. I was like,
I know.
No, they don't. What are you talking? I was like, I guess at one point you do see one like sideways. I was like, I mean, it looks like a cigar if the cigar was wearing a yarmulke. Like, I just wouldn't describe it.
Yeah.
Hubcap.
Yeah, like, or actual kits, like little UFO kits.
Yeah.
Yeah. 3-star review says, too much fun to be the worst movie ever made.
Amen. Please.
Right?
Please. Okay, go watch The She Creature. Go watch Catwoman of the Moon. Go watch The Man from Planet X. Please. take a position on this show of never talking down to people, but I'm going to do it with this movie. And I'm just going to say, go watch more movies from this time period. This is a darling gem compared to them.
Our 5-star review says, the one that introduced me to bad movies. It's also when I first became a fan of directors' works. Ed Wood's style is apparent in his other films, the enthusiasm, quirky dialogue, surreal scenes, recurring troop of characters. In some ways, that doesn't make him too different from auteurs like Wes Anderson or David Lynch. Some have said that people laugh at it for the wrong reasons. Maybe the reason is less important than the joy.
Amen.
We rate things as a movie, schmovie, or film. We rate it 1 through 5 stars, give our thoughts on the runtime, if we recommend it or not, and we give a shout out at whatever part of the film's practical filmmaking that stood out to us. Before we record each episode, we write down a guess of what the other host will rate the film, and every time we guess correctly, we get to add a point to our tattoo tally, and whoever has the most points at the end of the year gets to pick a tattoo for the other host that they will then get tattooed on them without knowing what it is first. I have 0 points, guys. I have 0 points. Seth has 4.
Yeah, it's
not
a
doing
shame.
too great.
Yeah.
For you, 4.5 schmovie. Oh my God.
I want to lie, but as I said before,
you cannot lie.
I respect you too much to lie. I'm gonna go 3.5 schmovie, but like I really think that this is great and enjoyable and a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think the runtime is great. As far as practical effects, let's hear it for the costumes. I mean, all the alien costumes, please. Gadgets just being like boxes with knobs on them stacked on top of each other.
Yes.
I love it. I love when a movie makes you feel like you can make a movie. And I recommend it. And I would just straight up recommend this to everyone. I would say I like to imagine movies as a big universe. And every your universe expands with every like little flag that you put down. And I think that Plan 9 is a flag that you can put down on the edges of the cinematic universe. So I think that this is required viewing for everyone. And then you get to have the wonderful journey of reading about these people and going through how it was made and how it's affected movies and all that stuff. This is a must-see movie. 3.5 schmovie for me. For you, I wrote down what you just guessed for me. 4.5 schmovie.
I want to lie. But you're right. Oh my God. This is terrible, guys. This is so... My rating's not terrible.
Yes.
And I think Seth just knows me better than I know him at this point. And ever since we switched up our rating system, I have not been able to get a point. I did so much better last year.
I know, when we were playing for pickles than
Plus,
tattoos.
Yeah, that must have been it. But yes, okay. The runtime is fantastic. I'm recommending it to a certain group of people who are into film, who are into 1950s Hollywood. Because like you said, what a gem for you to watch this. If you can get it and grasp it and you become interested in the people who are in it, what a fun journey you get to go on to read and learn about all of these people that are involved. And then on it, like, this is practical filmmaking, all of it. So
Right.
there is not a specific part, but like you said, it gives you can make a movie. And this is like the perfect example of that.
Hey, if we're a perfect example of a podcast that you like, we'd love it if you give us a rating or review wherever you're listening. You can also send us an email, moviefriendspodcast@gmail.com. Let us know what you thought about Plan 9, Ed Wood, whether or not we pumped you up while you were in the gym, whatever you want. You can also support the show, patreon.com/moviefriendspodcast. Look, folks, there are not many podcasts out there that are singing the praises of Plan 9 without making fun of it, ripping it apart. That's right. We're special. Okay.
And
we did not even mention the fact that like the tombstones fall over. We did not even mention in the cockpit there was a shower curtain. You know what I'm saying?
You can find that anywhere. Okay?
That's what I'm saying.
Those comments are a dime a dozen. Who else is describing the plot of Plan 9 from Outer Space as an unfolding geometric shape? Huh? Come on. Who else has based their new personality on Bunny Breckenridge's performance as the alien ruler? No one. Okay?
Nope.
Patreon.com/moviefriendspodcast. $5 a month gets you access to all of our additional episodes, ad-free episodes, our Patreon-only Discord, which I gotta say is just a delight in my life. You get to talk to other people and you get to talk to us. We talk about what movies we're watching. And you get to vote on upcoming episodes every single month. Once a month, we cover a movie that is nominated and voted on entirely by our patrons. Our hands are off and we do it. You also get to vote on monthly themes once a quarter. Michelle, speaking of patreon.com/moviefriendspodcast and the voting benefits, what is our movie for next week?
Next week is patron voted. We're going to be discussing Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, from 2023, directed by Kelly Furman Craig, streaming on Netflix.
Michelle? Insanity.
If you guys
Listeners.
saw what else was nominated, and then this one.
Yes.
Star Wars, guys. Star Wars.
Oh, yes. One of the options this month, someone nominated the original Star Wars film. One of the movies of all time. And what won out in the voting, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, which just is delightful to me. I love it so much.
I've never seen it. I'm excited to cover this. I feel like this is a birthday gift to me, so thank you, patrons. I've been told by multiple people to watch this movie.
Me too.
Not just from the Patreon. You've never seen it?
No, I was a big fan of the book.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which we'll get into. I think I'm going to reread it before we...
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Thanks, patrons.
Wow.
Wow.
Thank you, patrons.
Yeah.
Wow. How exciting. Our first Ed Wood movie. Great pick this week.
Thank you. Thank you for originally choosing Ed Wood and introducing that to me last year. And specifically, I'll never forget it. During that episode, you're like, what did you think of Lisa Marie as Vampira? And I was like, oh my God, I was so obsessed with her on screen, like watching her every move. And you're like, you should look into Vampira. And holy moly did I. And sent me on like truly like an obsession that I'm still very much obsessed with. So Thank you, Seth.
Movies can change your lives, folks.
Yeah.
Well, hey, thank you very much for listening. And remember, folks, future events such as these will affect you in the future. Until next time, when we're talking about Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Thank you for listening. Have a good one.
Movie Friends is produced by Seth Vargas and Michelle Rubenstein. Theme music by Jean Marie Vargas. Visit us at our website, moviefriendspodcast.com, and please subscribe and rate our show wherever you are listening. You can support Movie Friends at patreon.com/moviefriendspodcast. Thanks for listening.